Okay, so we're back in the chapel where we're having to use the room here to do this audio product. So it's part 2, hopefully the final part of the Fidelity UA8. Got Simon here. I'm probably croaking a bit with this chest infection I've got. We've got the parts come for this. We've got the 3300 capacitor to put in its power supply. We've got a new stylus of the correct type specified, ST20, and so we can just test it on our, well, I need to renew the speaker plugs, it's all been bodged, I've got those. And we're also going to test it into our little disco speakers we use, which I think are going to sound better than what these do. I think what we're going to do first, this is doing things in the wrong order. Simon, can you just unplug this please, if it's plugged in? Is that plugged in? No, it's not. No, it's not. Good. So I'm just going to move it to one side. I think we'll look inside one of these speakers. I just want to check that they're not the type that have the cones that fail. So we'll just undo one at random.
That's some tangles.
And see how quickly I can unscrew with all the wrong screwdrivers.
Oh, there's one here.
Good, let's have that one.
And some screwdriver bits as well.
I don't bother with electric screwdrivers because as a church organ builder putting in hundreds of screws by hand, make sure we can all see what I'm doing. It's usually quite quick. So hopefully it'll just be changing that single capacitor and aligning things. Right, so we've got foam. There's acoustic wadding. It hasn't rotted. I'm going to unscrew the speaker. The 4 ohms, I think I mentioned that in part 1, which is unusual. You expect home hi-fi to be 8 ohms. But of course, if you've got early solid state stuff, it can be 64 ohms. I'm only going to need to inspect with one, it's just that I want to see in my own mind, it's because we're going to be selling this on, that they are not rotten. That, absolutely no problem at all. Good. I prefer to see a wooden baffle in there, but there you go, I'm not the manufacturer. So I don't need to inspect the other one, because it does work, but I just wanted to check that they weren't those types of cones with the rubberized surround that failed. So this has come from a good home, and the bloke had owned it from new. And I suppose the only reason he was selling it is because the turntable was seized. It goes to show there can't be any service places like that who are probably fair. Quite well packed that. And then you've got to slam this. I've got to get that back up without obscuring the screw holes. So I can see now why it looks a bit funny. I'm not going to screw all these on video, we'll just pause the camera. And I'll take the power supply can't even get the first screw in. We'll pause the camera. Okay, so we've got the board back out. And we've put in this 3300 microfarad capacitor at 35 volts. It's a radial type. There was an axial one that came out, so I've had to extend one of the wires. I've also vacuumed the potentiometers. So we'll now screw that back together. Right, put it back together.
You've got a screw down here, I don't know if it's come from that.
I bet it has.
It's only a small one.
Okay, so we've got the board back in, we've got all the screws back in, and hopefully, I think we'll put a couple of screws in the bottom just in case we've got to take it apart again, and hopefully they were about there with it. Okay, so we've put this back together. It's a bit marred, but it's not me that's marred it. We'll try something from one of these Reader's Digest odd sets again, which we've got spare. I put side 2 on. And it's the old copyright strike thing. Even when I play my own organ, they managed to say that was in a film when it was, I was playing a hymn from 17 something or other, you know, and then you've got to start fighting it and that. Let's see. I think I could do with a few hours running to get the lubrication in, but there we go. That's probably enough so we don't get through the copyright thing. So we'll put it in another random place. So that sounds alright. I'm just going to now swap to our disco speakers. We've just moved that up. You see we're on the Fidelity speakers there. Then we've got these small disco speakers which we normally use for testing. So I'll plug those in instead right now. Try not to bounce it. But they do sound better. Pop that onto another track before the copyright people get us. So if you find gaps in this recording with no sound, you know what's happened. There's some warbly lady singing a warbly song. Just cue it up and get it onto the runoff groove. Make sure it's auto stopping, and then we'll find another record. I've got some 10-inch mono ones for testing. Good, well that worked. So you can put that one away, thank you. Oh, the thing's there.
Yeah, the 10-inch one's there,
So I think the Nina and Frederick one, we got a copyright thing last time. Sir Malcolm Sargent and his Elgar piano, dancing with Victor Sylvester and Humphrey Littleton in his band. And you know what, I bet every one of these will trigger a copyright thing. So we'll just see what happens with Humphrey Littleton.
Well, that's probably the 40s or 50s, so it may have run out of copyright.
Yeah, but as I say, I played a hymn on the organ and he gave me 3 copyright strikes saying it was from a film. How can it be from a film when it's a 1760 hymn and I'm playing it on my organ? So, let's put the B side on. Tell it it's a 10-inch record, it's still 33, and see what happens. We have these 10-inch records so we can set up the stylus drop-off correct point.
Coming too far in.
That's interesting. How does that happen? Have I not put that right? See, dum, bum, bum. Try again. We set this up once, so it can't have changed. It's wherever the lever was then, wasn't it? Not quite in the right position. Because you haven't got an overarm, we can't reject the record, it'll just go on to repeat. So that's fine, off to the run-off groove. Oh, I went in fast enough for it to do it, even better. It'll still be queuing down, so it won't probably lock into the thing. Right, so we'll just see whether that plays the opposite side. Yeah, that's gone on in the right place. As I thought I'd do, it's so slow, it's like a funeral march. No, that's not wanting to trigger the auto spot. Ah, it has eventually, yeah. But it's an old record for 33. Right. Despite having...
Sometimes the tracking weight needed to be slightly heavier.
Oh, did we check the
records as well, didn't it?
I don't know.
We've not checked the tracking weight, have
we? We haven't, no. Right. Stick that away, thank you. I'll check the tracking weight.
We said it should have been about 3 grams or 3.5 maximum on that, didn't we?
It's 3.1, so that's absolutely where we'd expect it to be. We did check it last time, didn't we? And we made an adjustment.
Yeah.
So that
should be fine
yeah.
there for most. Well, it certainly should for stereo records.
Yeah, people won't buy a record player like this for anything other than playing pop singles, I think, and top of the pops volume 17.
Yeah, most likely.
Right, where have you got that from?
That was over here.
Good, thank you.
Where's the Stylus thing as well? Well, that's still on there, isn't it?
No,
I mean the one checking the Stylus has got. No.
I put it back now. I think I did anyway.
Oh, it's up there. Yes.
He's thinking about Stylus microscope was the word.
That's it.
So what have we got?
So they're in the right place.
Try a track on this record and hope it doesn't trigger. So pop guitar. So 33 with 12-inch, and then we'll go back to the factory speakers. I'll drop the volume very... Before us, because that's how it is, isn't it? Pop that into about there, put it down. Now I've been inside the speakers and seen what they are, because I was just so fearful it was going to be those ones with the cones that fail. So we heard it on the cassette input through the external DIN socket, which is bi-directional last time. So there we go, that should be ready to go with all new capacitors of higher quality than were originally fitted. So Simon can put that record away as well. And there we go. This now stands us at something around £75. So I think we'll be putting it on eBay with a starting bid of £50 because we love losing money. Thank you for watching the part 2 and completion of the Fidelity UA8 record player, which is 8 watts per channel, RMS, and it really is.